Dobar dan. Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seat. The conference will begin in a few moments, please. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 30th anniversary of TELFOR conference. Before we begin, I will make the usual introductory remarks. We operate bilingually and translation headsets are provided. I don't know, do you need some of it? Okay. Please, in addition, to turn off your mobile phones or make it in airplane mode. I will do the same. Translations are provided only from Serbian to English language because we are almost all engineers and it is supposed that we can all understand English language. I think that's more than obvious. I will turn now in Serbian language because the most of the audience here is better understand that language. Poštovani dame i gospodo, poštovani ministre informisanja i telekomunikacija, poštovani akademici Srpske akademije nauka, dragi sadašnji i budući, imamo ovdje i buduće direktore telekomunikacionih kompanija, inženjeri, profesori, vizionari, lideri novih telekomunikacija i novog, siguran sam, načina života. U ime programskog i organizacionog odbora velika mi je čast, ali i iskreno zadovoljstvo da vam danas poželim dobrodošlicu na TELFOR, na kome smo navikli da se okupljamo, evo, skoro već 30 godina. Jedina loša stvar u svemu tome je što sam ja bio na svakoj od njih, pa se čovjek malo uplaši koliko je godina prošlo. I ono što se pokazalo u posljednjih 30 godina, ko u Srbiji nešto znači u telekomunikacijama, on dođe na TELFOR, što pokazuje i ovaj današnji skup svakako. Ovom prilikom, iako je 30. godišnjica, nećemo se okretati unazad i evocirati uspomene, kako se to obično radi na skupovima na značajnim godišnjicama. Zašto? Pa zato što imamo toliko novih tehnologija, servisa, slobodno možemo reći i uzbuđenja koje nas čekaju, pa zašto onda gubiti vreme na neku prošlost. Mlađi i onako nam ne veruju da na prvom TELFOR-u niko u sali tad nije imao mobilni telefon. To je svima bio san i to smo gledali u naučno-fantastičnim filmovima. A ove godine najmlađa populacija misli da je mobilna telefonija uvedena nekoliko stotina godina ranije. Pa zašto im onda razbijati tu iluziju u krajnjoj liniji? Ovako će misliti da smo i mi valjda mlađi. Naše oči su sada usmerene prema nečemu što za sad verovatno još nismo ni svesni šta je. Nestrpljivo ga očekujemo već više godina i to je svakako njegova visost 5G tehnologije. Očekujemo revoluciju sa potajnom željom da nam život bude lagodniji. Tu ću spomenuti neki od evidentnih servisa koji će nam doći za godinu, 2, 5, ali dolaze sigurno. Autonomna vozila, autonomni dronovi, nove igrice, telemedicina i tako dalje, čak ne možemo ni da zamislimo sve u tom segmentu. Međutim, htio bih da naglasimo da ni ne slutimo da 5G sa sobom i nosi jednu ozbiljnu opasnost. On nam preti. Kako? Pa 5G sa sobom donosi i nešto što zovemo digitalna transformacija, što većina možda i ne shvata i ne zna tačno šta to znači. A to je jedan interesantan pojam. Međutim, on podrazumeva da mi moramo svi zajedno, zajedničkim naporima, da transformišemo kompletnu našu privredu. Procese u državi, u kompanijama, jer ako te procese ne učinimo efikasnim, mi ćemo dodatno zaostajati za svetom 10, možda i 20 godina. A i ovako već dosta zaostajemo. Dakle, pred nama je jedan vrlo, vrlo veliki zadatak, vrlo ozbiljan zadatak, jer u dve reči, ako neko optimizuje u drugim državama te procese, sve što proizvode, sve što prave, bit će mnogo jeftinije od onoga što se pravi kod nas u zemlji. Vi nećete moći nijedan proizvod da plasirate na svetskom tržištu, a bez plasmana na svetsko tržište danas nema uspešne ekonomije. I zato je na neki način i TELFOR preuzeo na sebe tu misiju da malo kroz jedan panel dotaknemo i tu temu i sa željom i da ovde promovišemo da svi zajedno počnemo intenzivno da radimo u tom pravcu. U organizaciji TELFOR-a učestvuje veliki broj naših kolega. I ja bih želeo svima njima zaista da se zahvalim. Uzelo bi mi dosta vremena kad bi se svakom od njih zahvaljivao. Zato mislim da je ovaj skup, što pokazuje i brojnost posjetilaca ovde, jako uspešan i iza toga stoji zaista veliki trud. Oni koji su se ove godine malko više ili malko više posebno istakli u organizaciji ovoga skupa, oni čine radno predsjedništvo i ja bih ceremoniju otvaranja i ja bih želeo sada da ih predstavim gledajući s leva na desno. Tu je kolega, docent doktor Mladen Koprivica, predsjednik organizacionog odbora, koleginica profesorka Nataša Nešković, član programskog odbora, docent doktor Jelena Ćertić, potpredsjednik organizacionog odbora i moja malenkost, znate me već, Aleksandar Nešković. Hvala na aplauzu, iako nije bilo u protokolu. Posebno smo počastovani što ovogodišnjoj ceremoniji otvaranja prisustvuje i što ovu ceremoniju otvaranja započinjemo sa govorom naše kolege, ministra informisanja i telekomunikacije u Vladi Republike Srbije, gospodina Mihajla Jovanovića. Zamolio bih gospodina Jovanovića, odnosno ministra Jovanovića, da uzme reč.
Posle 30 godina moraju i naočare. Poštovane dame i gospodo, vaše ekscelencije, uvaženi profesori Srpske akademije nauka i umetnosti, predstavnici naučnih zajednica, direktori telekomunikacionih kompanija, instituta, dragi organizatori, partneri i donatori TELFOR-a, koleginici i kolege, izuzetna mi je čast da vas u godini obeležavanja značajnog jubileja pozdravim ispred Vlade Republike Srbije i Ministarstva informisanja i telekomunikacija i da vam čestitam na 30 dugih godina posvećenosti i doprinosa u oblasti telekomunikacija i informacionih tehnologija. Privilegija je biti neraskidivi deo i svedok brojnih pokretačkih ideja koje su upravo potekle na TELFOR-u, najvećem regionalnom skupu u našoj oblasti. Setimo se da je na prvim konferencijama praktično doneta odluka da se pokrene prva mobilna, odnosno GSM mreža u Srbiji. Takođe, mnogi od nas su se sve ovo vreme profesionalno razvijali, usavršavali, davali značajan doprinos napretku naše oblasti, zahvaljujući posebnoj energiji, nesebičnoj saradnji i entuzijazmu ovog jedinstvenog skupa, koji je od samog početka imao za cilj da povezuje nauku i privredu, ali i ljude kao ključni faktor što i danas čini. Srbija je upravo u četvrtoj industrijskoj revoluciji i novim tehnologijama videla razvojnu šansu koju ne sme da propusti. Digitalizacija i obrazovanje su 2017. godine na inicijativu predsjednice vlade Ane Brnabić postali dva ključna prioriteta vlade. To dovoljno govori o očekivanjima države i prepoznavanju digitalnog doba kao prilike da se značajno pozicioniramo na tržištu IKT-a kao država dobrih prilika kako za život, tako i za poslovanje. Da smo na dobrom putu govore i rezultati. IKT sektor je postao najveća neto izvozna grana Srbije. U poslednjih 10 godina je izvoz IKT sektora, dakle izvoz naših ideja, rešenja i naše pameti, povećan gotovo 7 puta. Ove godine očekujemo da izvoz IKT usluge bude preko 2,6 milijarde evra, što je rast za oko 40% u odnosu na prethodnu godinu, dok će suficit biti preko 1,5 milijardi evra. Time je IKT sektor postao naš sektor sa ubedljivo najvećim suficitom u izvozu. Izvoz 2016. recimo bio je skoro 4 puta manji, oko 760 miliona evra. Očekujemo da izvoz 2030. godine bude oko 10 milijardi evra. Ovakav rezultat je proizvod čvrste odluke da transformišemo našu privredu kroz niz reformi u oblasti obrazovanja i unapređenje pravnog okvira stvorimo optimalne uslove za poslovanje, što podrazumeva i najkvalitetnije kadrove. Zahvaljujući tome, IKT sektor je postao generator polovine novih radnih mesta u 2021. godini. Svako drugo radno mesto koje je otvoreno u proteklih godinu dana je u IKT sektoru. Srbija je prema podacima Eurostata imala jedno od najvećih povećanja broja zaposlenih u IKT sektoru u Evropi sa rastom preko 50% u odnosu na 2016. godinu. Ukupan broj zaposlenih u IKT sektoru je danas oko 95,5 hiljada, dok je 2016. godine bio 55 hiljada. Posebna pažnja posvećena je unapređenju i izgradnji inovacione infrastrukture. Pre samo 5 godina nismo imali ni jedan naučno-tehnološki park, dok u Srbiji trenutno funkcioniše 4 naučno-tehnološka parka i to u Beogradu, Novom Sadu, Nišu i Čačku. U okviru ove mreže NTP-ova posluje ukupno 128 kompanija, od toga 72 start-up i 56 tehnološko-razvojnih sa ukupno 1785 zaposlenih. U planu je da se tokom mandata nove vlade otvori i naučno-tehnološki park u Kruševcu, kao da se i prošire postojeći parkovi u Čačku, Nišu i Beogradu, jer je broj startupa u ovim gradovima već prerastao postojeće kapacitete. U Kragujevcu je izgrađena i opremljena i puštena u rad 2 objekta državnog data centra, najsavremenijeg i najefikasnijeg centra za čuvanje podataka u regionu. Prvi objekat je namenjen između ostalog i komercijalnim korisnicima i njemu čuvanje svojih podataka i aplikacija pod komercijalnim uslovima danas poveravaju i velike svetske IT kompanije. Potpisan je ugovor s kompanijom Oracle, koja je u državnom data centru u Kragujevcu uspostavlja svoj regionalni centar koji će početi sa radom u prvoj polovini naredne godine. Uskoro počinjemo i realizaciju 3. faze državnog data centra za njegovo proširenje i prerastanje u inovacioni distrikt u kojem će posebno mesto imati Nacionalni centar za informacionu bezbednost. Zajedno sa Svetskim ekonomskim forumom otvorili smo centar za 4. industrijsku revoluciju. Ovo je prvi takav centar u regionu, tek 3. u Evropi posle Osla i Moskve. Centar u Srbiji je usmeren na 2 prioriteta: biotehnologiju i primjenu veštačke inteligencije u zdravstvu. Pokrenut je sa idejom da pomogne da se naučna znanja brže iskoriste u privredi i da se Srbija pozicionira u svetu kao izvoznih inteligentnih usluga i inovacija. Centar će kroz Kancelariju za IT i e-upravu predložiti po prvi put zakon kojim se definiše uspostavljanje i vođenje registra koji sadrži genetičke, biomedicinske i druge podatke od značaja za istraživanje i razvoj u oblasti biotehnologije. Uspostavljanje ovog registra doprineće značajnim rezultatima u kliničkim istraživanjima i primjeni personalizovane medicine i omogućiti da Srbija postane regionalni lider u razvoju biotehnologije. 2019. godine Vlada je donela strategiju razvoja veštačke inteligencije u Republici Srbiji za period 20-25, kao tek 26. vlada na svetu koja je to uradila. Kupili smo i u državnom data centru u Kragujevcu smestili i uspostavili nacionalnu infrastrukturu za razvoj veštačke inteligencije, to jest superkompjuter najnovije generacije, i ponudili ga na korišćenje univerzitetima, institutima i startupima. I u ovom trenutku gotovo 30 institucija i startupa, ukupno preko 200 stručnjaka, besplatno koristi uspostavljenu infrastrukturu za modelovanje i razvoj svojih rešenja baziranih na veštačkoj inteligenciji i tako stvaraju nove proizvode i nove usluge. Osnovali smo i Institut za veštačku inteligenciju. To je prvi institut u regionu jugoistočne Evrope namenjen veštačkoj inteligenciji. I za nešto više od godinu dana institut je zaposlio preko 25 istraživača, od kojih se većina vratila iz inostranstva, i to posle preko 20 godina života i rada u drugim zemljama. Početkom 2023. godine očekujemo i početak radova na izgradnji kreativno-inovativnog multifunkcionalnog centra ložionica. Okosnica našeg daljeg rada u oblasti kreativnog stvaralaštva biće izgradnja infrastrukture i obnavljanje kulturnog, istorijskog i industrijskog nasleđa, a jedan od najvažnijih projekata u tom smislu je obnova i adaptacija stare železničke ložionice u Beogradu u kreativni, inovativni, multifunkcionalni hub posvećen kreativnim industrijama. Ložionica će postati mesto susreta, povezivanja, informisanja i razmene ideja mladih, kreativnih ljudi, studenata, startupa, IT zajednice, istraživača i zainteresovane javnosti. Obrazovanje novih kadrova i uslovi u kojima stiču znanja su na insistiranje predsednice Vlade Ane Brnabić bili i ostali jedan od prioriteta Vlade. U protekle 2 godine smo otvorili nove zgrade Elektronskog fakulteta u Nišu, Fakulteta organizacionih nauka u Beogradu, kao i drugu fazu Naučno-tehnološkog parka u Novom Sadu. U mandatu ove Vlade počet ćemo da gradimo i dodatnu zgradu Elektrotehničkog fakulteta u Beogradu. Pred nama je i čitav niz novih izazova, čiju realizaciju očekujemo sa nestrpljenjem. U cilju razvoja širokopojasne komunikacione infrastrukture, potpune digitalizacije obrazovanog sistema i savremenog pristupa obrazovanju i inovacijama, Ministarstvo informisanja i telekomunikacija nastavlja rad na kapitalnim projektima. U toku je realizacija projekta razvoja ruralnog, širokopojasnog pristupa sa ciljem pokrivanja svih domaćinstava u Srbiji mrežama nove generacije. Prve 2 faze kreću već tokom ovog meseca i obuhvatit će više od 800 ruralnih naselja i preko 150.000 domaćinstava, dok će završetkom 3. faze do kraja 2025. godine preko 99% domaćinstava u Republici Srbiji imati brzi fiksni pristup internetu. Do kraja ove godine planira se i završetak projekta Povezane škole, na koje Ministarstvo radi od 2018. godine. Do danas je izgrađena bežična lokalna računarska mreža u preko 1600 školskih objekata, od 1800 većih školskih objekata koji su obuhvaćeni projektom. To praktično znači da je brz, bezbedan i pouzdan internet omogućen za preko 700.000 nastavnika i učenika u Republici Srbiji. U isto vreme unapređujemo pravne okvire. Ministarstvo radi na pripremi konačne verzije nacrta zakona o elektronskim komunikacijama i u prethodnom periodu napravljen je značajan korak ka usklađivanju sa pravnim tekovima Evropske unije u ovoj oblasti. Obezbeđivanje uslova za ravnomeran razvoj elektronskih komunikacija na celoj teritoriji Republike Srbije i stvaranje savremenog poslovnog ambijenta prema evropskim standardima sa pozitivnim efektima na ekonomiju i standard stanovništva predstavljaju najznačajnije ciljeve novog zakona. Novim zakonom će se posticati povezanost, široka dostupnost i upotreba mreža nove generacije uzimajući u obzir nova tehnološka dostignuća, kao i obezbediti kontinuirano unapređenje kvaliteta usluga elektronskih komunikacija, neophodne promene u režimu pružanja usluga univerzalnog servisa i dodatna zaštita prava krajnjih korisnika. Vrlo brzo ćemo pripremiti i nacrt zakona o izmenama i dopunama Zakona o informacionoj bezbednosti. Promenama u zakonu želi se postići usklađivanje sa novim NIS-2 direktivom, čije se usvajanje u EU očekuje veoma brzo, kao i poboljšanje dosadašnjih zakonskih rešenja koje bi dovela do jačanja institucionalnog okvira i unapređenja sistema zaštite IKT sistema od posebnog značaja u Republici Srbiji. Mnogo toga smo uradili, daleko više je pred nama. U ime Vlade Republike Srbije i u svoje lično ime još jednom vam čestitam na značajnom jubileju i pozivam vas da i u narednom periodu pokažemo da smo s pravom jedna od prioritetnih oblasti u našoj zemlji. Nadamo se da će ovaj TELFOR, posle 2 godine korone, koji se organizuje u novom i modernijem formatu i sa interesantnim gostima, pored već redovnih posetilaca, zainteresovati i nove generacije da uzmu učešće u radu i svojim idejama doprinesu podmlađivanju TELFOR-a, otvore neka nova poglavlja u razvoju i dodatnom unapređenju, podižući Republiku Srbiju na još višu lestvicu IKT-a, kako u regionu, tako i na velikom međunarodnom tržištu. Na kraju, želim vam da 30. jubilarni TELFOR, kao što je to naš dragi profesor Đorđe Paunović voleo da poruči, bude mnogo uspešniji nego prethodnih 29 konferencija, ali i manje uspešan nego naredni 31. Hvala vam i srećan rad.
Poštovani ministri Jovanoviću, puno vam hvala što ste podelili planove ministarstva sa nama ovde. Verujem da to svima znači. I daju nam nadu i podstrek da nastavimo dalje u ispravnom pravcu. Regulatorna agencija za elektronske komunikacije i poštansku delatnost, naš RATEL skraćeno, jer svi ga uglavnom znamo kao RATEL, po zakonu sprovodi politiku u cilju posticanja konkurencije, podizanja kapaciteta, kvaliteta naših sistema, tržišne ravnopravnosti, razvoju cijelog našeg sektora. Stavove agencije će sa nama podeliti dr. Vladimir Krstić, član upravnog odbora RATEL-a, i ja ga molim da uzme reč.
Dobar dan svima. Poštovani uvaženi gosti, poštovane kolege i koleginice, prijatelji TELFOR-a, imam posebnu čast i zadovoljstvo da vas pozdravim u ime Regulatorne agencije za elektronske telekomunikacije i poštanske usluge Republike Srbije, kao i u svoje lično ime, i da im predstavim neke od najznačajnijih rezultata koje smo ostvarili u prethodnoj godini. Našim domaćinima čestitam jubilarnu 30. godišnjicu TELFOR-a. TELFOR je svih ovih godina bio i ostao ugledan međunarodni telekomunikacioni forum za kritičko razmišljanje i razmjenu iskustava u oblasti razvoja telekomunikacionih mreža i servisa, ali isto tako i mesto gde inženjeri telekomunikacija i informacionih tehnologija predstavljaju svoje najnovije istraživačke rezultate. Kao što znate, naša Regulatorna agencija za elektronske telekomunikacije i poštanske usluge, poznata kao RATEL, vrši javna ovlašćenja u oblasti elektronskih telekomunikacija i poštanskih usluga sa osnovnim ciljem da obezbedi jednake i pravične uslove za sve operatere na oba tržišta, da zajedno sa operaterima unapređuje njihove servise, ali isto tako i da štiti interese krajnjih korisnika. U delu elektronskih telekomunikacija RATEL, pored navedenog, vrši i ovlašćenja u oblasti upravljanja i kontrole radiospektra, kao i u oblasti informacione bezbednosti, gde kao nacionalni CERT vrši poslove koordinacije, prevencije i zaštite od bezbednosnih rizika u informacionim telekomunikacijskim sistemima. Na ovaj način, vršeći navedene poslove, RATEL iz godine u godinu zajedno sa operaterima unapređuje privredni ambijent naše zemlje i pomaže da krajnji korisnici dobiju kvalitetne i raznovrsne telekomunikacione i poštanske servise. Evo nekoliko podataka koje ilustruju stanje tržišta telekomunikacije i poštanskih usluga u Srbiji u prethodnoj godini. Prema podacima koje je RATEL prikupio i obradio, ukupan prihod ostvaren na tržištu elektronskih telekomunikacija u Srbiji u 2021. godini iznosio je 220 milijardi dinara, što je za oko 3,9% više u odnosu na prethodnu godinu. U bruto domaćem proizvodu Srbije prihodi od elektronskih telekomunikacije su imali udeo od oko 3,5%. Najveći deo u ukupnim prihodima ostvaren je od pružanja usluga mobilne telefonije i činio je oko 60% ukupnih prihoda. Takođe, vredno je istaći da su ukupne investicije u sektoru elektronskih telekomunikacije u 2021. godine iznosile oko 63 milijarde dinara, što je za 31% više nego prethodne godine, kao i da su iznosile, znači to je nešto više od prethodne godine kada je bilo oko 48 milijardi dinara. U strukturi investicija pojedinačno najveće učešće imale su investicije u distribuciji medijskih sadržaja, koji su iznosile više od 25 milijardi dinara i činile se oko 40% ukupnih investicija u 2021. godini, kao i investicije u mobilnu telefoniju sa iznosom od nekih 17 milijardi dinara, koje su činile oko 27% ukupnih investicija u 2021. godini. Prihod ostvaren od poštanskih pošiljki iznosi oko 28 milijardi dinara, što je približno oko 0,4% BDP-a u tekućim cenama. Tržište poštanskih usluga već 5 godina zaredom beleži rast prihoda koji je u 2021. godini iznosi više od 18%, dok je u poslednjih 5 godina porastao preko 50%. Prihod od univerzalne poštanske usluge u 2021. godini je porastao za 24%, što je pre svega posledica povećanja cena, dok je obim smanjen za nekih 0,1%. Prihod od ekspres i ostalih usluga kontinuirano raste i u 2021. godini je porastao za nekih 15%, što je prvenstveno posledica povećanja obima od nekih 11%, ali isto tako i povećanja cena. U cilju izgradnje i očuvanja konkurentnosti na tržištu telekomunikacionih usluga, RATEL najmanje jednom u 3 godine vrši analizu relevantnih tržišta u skladu sa aktuelnim evropskim direktivama u ovoj oblasti. Danas u Srbiji imamo 4 veleprodajna tržišta koja podležu prethodnoj ex-ante regulaciji, veleprodajno tržište terminacije poziva u javnoj telefonskoj mreži na fiksnoj lokaciji, veleprodajno tržište terminacija pozivna u mobilnoj mreži, veleprodajno tržište lokalnog pristupa elementima mreže koje se pruža na fiksnoj lokaciji i veleprodajno tržište središnjeg pristupa koje se pruža na fiksnoj lokaciji za proizvode za masovno tržište. Proces analize relevantnih tržišta podložnih prethodnoj regulaciji pokrenut je krajem 2021. godine i privodi se kraju. Tokom 2022. godine određene su ili su u postupku određivanja operatori sa značajnom tržišnom snagom na svim relevantnim tržištima. Na temelju sprovedenih analiza dobit ćemo nove standardne ponude operatera za značajnim tržišnom snagom. Očekujemo da se ovaj postupak završi početkom naredne godine. Na ovaj način će biti definisani i tehnički i komercijalni i svi potrebni uslovi za pružanje regulisanih veleprodajnih usluga. Pored toga, u skladu sa zaključcima sprovedenih analiza tržišta, pokrenut je i postupak uvođenja novog modela za obračun troškova regulisanih usluga, čime će se omogućiti sprovođenje regulacije u skladu sa evropskom praksom, a na način koji u potpunosti uzima u obzir specifičnosti tržišta elektronskih komunikacija Republike Srbije. uključujući njen trenutni stepen razvoja kao i planirani razvoj u budućem periodu. Primjenom ovog tržišnog modela osigurat će se konzistentan i transparentan kriterijum poslovanja, a sve u cilju posticanja daljeg razvoja konkurencije i veće sigurnosti poslovanja učesnika na tržištu elektronskih komunikacija. Dalje, želim da vas upoznam sa tekućim i planiranim aktivnostima RATEL-a u oblasti upravljanja i kontrole radiospektra. Imajući u vidu da je radiospektar ograničen resurs koji ima izuzetan značaj za funkcionisanje države, RATEL čini posebne napore da obezbedi ekonomično i racionalno upravljanje radiospektrom. Naš sistem za monitoring radiospektra trenutno broji 20 daljinski upravljenih kontrolno-mernih stanica, a tokom iduće godine taj broj će biti uvećan za još 2 stanice. Čime će biti omogućen kontinuiran monitoring najviše korišćenih delova spektra na najvećem delu teritorije Republike Srbije i u njenom neposrednom okruženju. Početkom 2022. godine puštene su u rad i 3 kompaktne daljinski upravljanje merne stanice u zoni Novog Sada, čime je omogućena kontrola radiopredajnika koji emituju signale sa malom izlaznom snagom i rade na višim frekvencijama, a čije je prisustvo karakteristično za urbane sredine. U kombinaciji sa postojećom mrežom za monitoring, ova nova mreža kompaktnih daljinski upravljanih mernih stanica obezbeđuje precizno lociranje izvora koje nalazi u svim gradovima kao i u neposrednom okruženju. Do kraja ove godine planiramo da pustimo u rad veći broj kompaktnih stanica u zoni Pančeva, Šapca, Zrenjanina, Niša, Novog Pazara, Kraljeva i Kragujevca, koje će biti takođe integrisane u postojeći sistem za monitoring radiospektra. Pored izgradnje daljinski upravljanih kontrolno-mernih stanica, a u svrhu zaštite korisnika, RATEL je nastavio i izgradnju sistema za kontinualno praćenje nivoa elektromagnetskog polja na fiksnim lokacijama u urbanim sredinama. Trenutno je u funkciji 98 senzora u 38 gradova Srbije i do kraja prve polovine naredne godine biće pušteno u rad još 11 novih senzora na nekoliko lokacija u gradovima Srbije, čime će ukupan broj senzora u sistemu za kontinualno praćenje nivoa elektromagnetskog polja biti 111. U cilju povećanja kvaliteta servisa i konkurentnosti na tržištu mobilnih telekomunikacionih sistema, Agencija već nekoliko godina sprovodi sveobuhvatna uporedna merenja parametara kvaliteta servisa, takozvani benchmark test, u skladu sa preporukama Evropskog instituta za standarde u oblasti telekomunikacija. Benchmark testiranje za 2022. godinu je u toku i u nekoliko narednih nedelja RATEL će objaviti konačne rezultate. RATEL kao nacionalni CERT aktivno obavlja poslove iz svoje nadležnosti kako na teritoriji Republike Srbije, tako i na međunarodnom planu, čime pruža značajan doprinos na podizanju svesti i unapređenju kadrovskih kapaciteta u oblasti sajber bezbednosti na nivou Republike. Koristići CyberBit platformu za simulaciju sajber napada poslednje generacije, nacionalni CERT je tokom ove godine održao obuke za 128 predstavnika ključnih institucija i oblasti informisanja i informacione bezbednosti. U toku je projekat razvoja platforme za podizanje svesti iz oblasti informacione bezbednosti, da će svi zainteresovani imati mogućnost da nauče više o ovoj oblasti kroz interaktivne sadržaje. Takođe, nacionalni CERT radi na unapređenju mehanizama za deljenje informacija o pretnjama i rizicima u IKT sistemima, kao i ranih upozorenja. Na kraju, na ovogodišnjem TELFOR-u RATEL će predstaviti rezultate ostvarene u oblasti merenja jačine elektromagnetnog polja u urbanim sredinama, zatim monitoringa radiospektra i jedan rad koji prezentuje aktivnosti nacionalnog CERT-a. Na kraju, u veri da će ovo tradicionalno okupljanje doprineti jačanju regionalne i međunarodne saradnje, želim svim učesnicima TELFOR-a uspešan rad, a našim operaterima na tržištu elektronskih telekomunikacija i poštanskih usluga, nastavak dobre saradnje sa RATEL-om. Hvala na pažnji.
Hvala puno. Puno vam hvala što ste s nama podelili stanje i projekte u kojima radi RATEL. No sad što bih htio da naglasim, sad evocirajući malo uspomene, interesantno je da je TELFOR stariji od sva naša 3 mobilna operatora. Ali takođe ono što je nama značajno interesantno, sva 3 mobilna operatora su bila na TELFOR-u pre nego što su i formalno formirana, uključujući jednog po jednog. I danas nam je posebna čast, kao i čitav niz godina unazad, da su generalni menadžeri, generalni direktori sva 3 mobilna operatora ovde sa nama. Tu je gospodin Vlada Lučić ispred Telekoma Srbija, gospodin Mike Michel ispred kompanije Jetel, treba se navići na nove naslove, i gospodin Dejan Turk, generalni direktor kompanije A1 Srbija. Prvi će nam se obratiti gospodin Vladimir Lučić i ja ga molim da uzme reč.
Dobar dan. Velika mi je čast što se u ime naše kompanije obraćam danas na TELFOR-u. Iskoristio ovu priliku prvo da se zahvalim organizatorima TELFOR-a, što zahvaljujući svom entuzijazmu već 30 godina se okupljaju u novembru svake godine da diskutujemo o najnovijim trendovima u domenu telekomunikacija. Stvarno veliko hvala, pogotovo gospodinu Jaci Neškoviću, na stvarno entuzijazmu svih ovih godina da ovaj TELFOR opstane i da se transformiše nekako u skladu sa vremenom i da bude uvijek interesantan za sve nas koji smo ovde prisutni. Četvrta industrijska revolucija i digitalna transformacija bit će veliki izazov za čitavu privredu i promenit će uopšte život ljudi. Ona jeste s jedne strane izazov, ali s druge strane velika šansa za svu privredu koja se bude na vreme pripremila za digitalnu transformaciju. Ona nudi velike mogućnosti razvoja privredi bilo koje industrijske grane. Mi smo svesni naše pozicije da mi moramo kao najveći telekomunikacioni operator da budemo nosioci digitalne transformacije, te nove četvrte industrijske revolucije, i onda smo znali da prvo mi moramo da transformišemo sebe i da se mi krenemo prvi u tu digitalnu transformaciju i u zadnje 4 godine razvojem pre svega izuzetne optičke mreže, razvojem mobilni internet, razvojem digitalne servise i sadržaje, mi smo uspeli našu kompaniju višestruko da promenimo. Pre svega, učešće prihoda od tih novih usluga interneta i multimedije je počeo da prevazilazi ukupne prihode od mobilne telefonije i oni će postati značajan deo prihoda sve više u budućnosti. I zahvaljujući tome, Telekom Srbija će ove godine prvi put preći kao grupa prihod od 1,5 milijardu evra, a EBIT, to je onaj operativni profit pre amortizacije i oduzimanja finansijskih troškova, bit će preko 550 miliona evra. Znači, bit će rekordni rezultati. Kada ono što nas posebno, tako kažemo, hrabruje jeste što će prvi put prihod van Srbije biti preko 500 miliona evra i mi ćemo ovih godina u budućnosti raditi da taj prihod van Srbije značajnije povećamo, da kao bude jedna dodatna snaga Telekoma Srbije. Ono što, pripremajući se za tu novu, tako da kažem, industrijsku revoluciju, uspjeli smo za ove zadnje 4 godine da razvijemo optičku mrežu i faktički preko 50% domaćinstava sada može da ima kvalitetan optički internet i također smo dosta uložili u kvalitetan 4G mobilni internet, upuštanje novih sajtova, što će biti odlična postavka i za 5G infrastrukturu, ali mogu da kažem i da i ostala 2 mobilna operatera, Jetel i A1, stvarno dosta uložili u zadnjih nekoliko godina u kvalitetan mobilni internet i da u stvari mobilni internet generalno na tržištu Srbije izuzetno visokog kvaliteta. Što opet ohrabruje da će se i kada se u jednom trenutku i podeli frekventni opseg za 5G, vrlo brzo 5G mreže implementirati pre svega u velikim gradovima u Srbiji. Ono što također morali da istaknem da ćemo se mi posebno truditi da u jednom trenutku kada se 5G mreža pusti, kada krene ubrzano da se radi, ajde kažem, ta četvrta industrijska revolucija, da što više implementiramo praktičnih servisa, da u stvari obični ljudi pa i privreda vide u stvari glavni benefite 5G mreže. I u tom smislu imamo, moram da istaknem, nekoliko partnerskih ugovora koji nas znatno ojačavaju u tom našem razvoju. Pre svega moram se pohvaliti da je Telekom Srbija jedini telekomunikacijni operator u Zapadnom Balkanu koji je dobio podršku Evropske investicione banke, tako da se Evropska investiciona banka prepoznala kao glavnog nosioca razvoja 5G mreže, razvoja optičke infrastrukture i digitalne transformacije, tako da će zajedno sa nama investirati u razvoj 5G mreže nisam ja, neko drugi, nisam ja. 5G mreže ne samo u Srbiji, već i u drugim zemljama u kojima su prisutni. Također smo strateški partneri sa Vodafonom koji je prepoznat kao najinovativnija kompanija u domenu 5G-a, kao najbrže rastuća 5G mreže koji sad već ima preko 100 miliona takozvanih IoT mašina koji komuniciraju preko interneta. Oni će nam omogućiti da kada jednom pustimo 5G mrežu inovativnim servisima što više, ajde kažem, pokažemo praktičnu primjenu 5G mreže. A također moram da istaknem i naš fond za finansiranje start-upova i ja sad zadovoljstvo to mogu da kažem da ćemo ove godine imati, ja se nadam, i 9 start-upova. Sad trenutno imamo 4 u koje smo ušli u vlasništvo i koje pomežamo i jedan od ta 4, moje lično ubeđenje, bit će prvi srpski startup koji će faktički biti uniko, možda čak i dekakorn po meni, znači prvi srpski startup koji će rediti više od milijardu na tržištu i meni je vrlo drago što smo već prve godine pronašli takvu vrstu startupa, ali to govori o toj našoj, ako da kažem, glavnoj strategiji da budućnost četvrte industrijske revolucije koja je faktički zasnovana na internetu i na toj moći da vi putem interneta možete vrlo lako da plasirate neki digitalni servis na 8 milijardi različitih korisnika i da to, da li će neki korisnici da koriste vaš digitalni servis ili ne, zavisi isključivo od vašeg znanja i inovativnosti, da ćemo tu snagu povezanosti interneta i sveta u jednu internet ulicu iskoristiti da prvi put zakoračimo tu svetsku utakmicu i da probamo da budemo i svetski igrači u digitalnom razvoju. Ko se seća TELFOR-a pre 20 godina i kada se razvio GPRS i kada smo ovdje prvi put pustili 3G poziv, razvoj GPRS-a, to jest interneta preko mobilnog, je bio veliki faktički korak, jer prvi put se počelo pričati o mobilnom internetu. I tada, i pre nego što su krenuli smart telefoni i aplikacije, Telekom Srbija, ko se seća tog vremena, moram da se pohvalim, tada smo mi bili među najinovativnijim svjetskim operaterima i sa brojem servisa koji smo nudili korisniku pre pojave pametnih telefona. Bili smo u rangu velikih operatera kao što su Vodafone ili japanski entity Docomo. Mislim da su samo njih dva bili ispred nas. I budite uvjereni da ćemo tu istu, da nam je namera da imamo snagu i da imamo znanje da i ovu veliku tehnološki pomak koji će donesti 5G iskoristimo, da se opet pozicioniramo Srbiju kao jednu zemlju gde će se 5G koristiti na najinovativniji način, ali ćemo ovog puta otići korak dalje, to iskoristit ćemo četvrtu industrijsku revoluciju i naš fond za finansiranje startup ideja da zajedno sa mladim ljudima u Srbiji formiramo nove digitalne ideje koje ćemo izvoziti širom sveta i to jest iskoristit ćemo ovaj trenutak da na svetskom, tako da kažem, tržišnoj utakmici pokažemo šta je Telekom Srbija. Hvala vam.
Hvala puno. Kompanija Jetel, bivši Telenor ili još pre toga bivši Mobtel, nas pomaže od samog starta. Ja ću zamoliti gospodina Majka Mišela da sa nama podeli. Please.
Dobar dan. Dear government, representatives, professors, students, and colleagues, it's really, truly a great pleasure for me to be with you today on this important occasion. Let me first start by wishing a happy anniversary to TELFOR. For 30 years, you have been guiding and teaching us while bringing the latest telco trends to Serbia. This is why TELFOR is so important. I have great admiration and respect for educators in Serbia. This is a country of enormous talent, especially in technology. I believe I'm speaking for everyone when I say thank you for all you've done so far. Now, 3 decades ago, we were using a telephone, one with a cord attached, which plugged into the wall, and we wrote letters. And today we talk about artificial intelligence, smart cities, 5G, cybersecurity, machine learning, and much, much more. And the telco industry has experienced a series of dramatic changes since its inception. Now, change is the word that has marked 2022 for us, and we introduced a new brand, Yetel. You mentioned it, getting used to saying Yetel. And we've also introduced many new propositions for our customers. And by also launching HyperNet, we stepped out of the mobile-only arena and entered a new vertical. And now all of our activities have one thing in common: sustainability. Now, according to a BCG report, Boston Consulting Group, the ICT industry accounts for approximately 3 to 4% of global CO2 emissions, which is about twice that of the civil aviation industry. Now, for the PPF Group and Yetel, sustainability has always been an essential part of the way we think about our business. Our mindset is that sustainability and profitability go hand in hand. Now, in the early 2000s, everybody realized the importance of digitalization and everybody embraced it. Now, the same thing is happening with sustainability. In other words, sustainability is the new digital. Now, the PPF Group's telecommunications arm, which includes Yetel, has an ambition to reduce carbon emissions by 50% by 2030. Now, in Serbia, just recently, we announced a 100% green network position, meaning our network uses only electricity from renewable resources. Together with our customers, we have recycled about 350,000 devices, and we aim to reach over 1 million by 2025. Now, at the same time, our purpose is to connect people and businesses to support the digitalization of society and the economy. Now, this digital transformation is driving a need for new technologies. Society and industry are undergoing a digital transformation, and it's apparent that existing mobile networks will not be able to satisfy future communication needs. New technology is required. And it is expected that 5G will have the greatest application in enhanced mobile broadband services, smart grid, medicine, communal services, agriculture, and smart manufacturing. We expect that customers will embrace the 5G technology and the possibilities it offers more quickly than in earlier launches of 3G and 4G. The adoption rate of 4G grew gradually. It was reaching roughly about 66% in year 4 after launch, and we expect that adoption rate of 5G will be much higher. With that, we promise to do is to bring experience from other countries where we, as the PPF Group, have already introduced 5G. For example, O2 in the Czech Republic is working on the Smart City project in Pilsen to test various smart transport models in a real environment. Now, the telco sector has never stood still, and we're all finely tuned to think about what's coming next. In many ways, our business is just beginning. So I wish everyone a successful conference, and once again, congratulations on your 30th year jubilee. Thank you.
Sada bih pozvao generalnog direktora kompanije A1, kolegu Dejana Turka, da se obrati publici. Izvolite.
Evo, ja sam tek 9 godina tu, ne 30 ko ti. Tih 9 godina radim da budem barem drugi, da govorim nakon u telekompanijama, ali nekako mi ne uspe. Ali evo, dišemo i nadam se kad završim sa Srbijom da ću možda imati čast da budem drugi na toj konferenciji. Dobro, šalu na stranu. Poštovano dame i gospodo, organizatori, učesnici, gosti konferencije, koliko mi je drago da vas mogu vidjeti uživo ove godine, posle 2 teške godine. Zato sa velikim zadovoljstvom još jednom dobar dan. Također hvala na pozivu i organizaciji još jedne TELFOR konferencije. Konferencija koja nas svake jeseni ovako pred kraj godine postakne da vidimo gde smo, šta smo uradili i šta nas čeka. Još važnije, kakvi su naši planovi i mogućnosti i gde želimo da budemo u budućnosti. Kako su nas posljednje 3 godine nešto naučile, jer je barem trebalo da smo spoznali, jeste kako da radimo na ostvarenju neke željene budućnosti. Prošle godine u ovo vreme niko od nas verovatno nije mogao da pretpostavi kakva nova vrsta nestabilnosti nam predstoji. A to kako dospeti do željene budućnosti znači zapravo kako prevazići sve prepreke koje svetska situacija postavlja pred nas. Izazovi su zajednički za kompletnu privredu, a mislim da rijetko koja industrija ima toliko iskustva u tome koliko baš mi u telekomunikacijama. Eksplozivan napredak tehnologija, pojava novih industrija i tranzicija, ubrzanje digitalizacije, sve su to pojave koja telku povezuje. Govorio sam i prethodnih godina o tome koliko je naša odgovornost porasla. Ne zamerite, ali bih ja to da ponovim jer ona je, mislim, da sve veća. Apsolutno za svaku pohvalu što građani Srbije svake godine imaju sve kvalitetniju uslugu, budući da smo svesni koliko su mobilni operateri uradili na podizanju kvalitete svojih mreža i usluga. Mi smo jako mnogo, od kad smo postali A1, pogotovo uradili u smeru, postigli veliki napredak koji potvrđuje zvanična i nezavisna merenja. Drugu godinu za pored je kompanija Okla proglasila A1 mrežu za najbržu u Srbiji i evo, duže od toga RATEL koji meri gde prelaze korisniki, vezajući na onih par rečenica na početku, još uvek smo mreža već 2 godine gde prelaze najviše korisnika. Tu dolazimo do glavnog pitanja koliko i na koji način je sve to održivo, oko čega je pričao Michael. Možda je prva asocijacija da ćemo sada pomeniti čuveni 5G, koga sam pomenivao puno puta i tu, ali nije. Svi znamo koliko je važna telekomunikaciona kompanija da podrži svoje korisnike. Mi u A1 odavno nismo bazirali na području prodaje mobilnih usluga, već na partnerskom odnosu u kome im pomažemo da imaju što bolji i efikasniji život i rad uz pomoć tehnologija. Ja zaista mislim da je možda već sada trenutak kada će utjecaj i naš odnos prema prirodi i taj otisak našeg poslovanja biti jedan od presudnih faktora prema kome će se korisnici u buduće odnositi prema nama. Ključna tačka je u tome da digitalni svet koji kreiramo kao katalizatori digitalne transformacije postoji u ovom našem fizičkom i postoji zahvaljujući njemu. U A1 smo uvereni da uspešnost održivosti poslovanja nije samo kvalitet mreže koji čine brzina pristupa internetu, pouzdanost i pokrivenost, već i pažljivo korišćenje prirodnih resursa. U želji da doprinesemo smanjenju karbonskog otiska i mi smo korišćenjem energije ušli u korišćenje energije iz obnovljivih izvora i tako smo postavili do danas već više od 2000 solarnih panela na našim baznim stanicama širom Srbije. Time smo postali prva telekomunikaciona kompanija na domaćem tržištu čija se mrežna infrastruktura oslanja i na ovu tehnologiju. To je tek početak, mi ćemo do kraja iduće godine staviti skoro 6000 solarnih panela na naše bazne stanice širom Srbije. To je količina energije potrebna za čak i 500 domaćinstava. Dodatno, mi na lokacijama gde su naše bazne stanice koristimo zelenu energiju, to je energiju iz obnovljivih izvora koje garantuje snabdevač. Za nas u A1 je imperativ da je zeleno mnogo više od same boje. To je simbol obaveze do unapređenja vrhunskog korisničkog iskustva, očuvanja životne sredine rame uz rame. Zato smo smanjenjem karbonskog otiska, korišćenjem energije iz obnovljivih izvora, uz unapređenje energetske efikasnosti mrežne infrastrukture, ušli u neku novu etapu našeg poslovanja. Sve što zeleno iščekujemo poput novog spektra koji će biti namenjen 5G tehnologiji i uzbudljivih rešenja o kojima ćemo pričati na toj konferenciji i mogućnosti koje sa njim stižu, mi smo na to potpuno spremni i pomoći će nam da svet učinimo nekoliko boljim mesto za život. Hvala vama.
Puno hvala. Hvala, gospodine ministre. Obaveze su obaveze. S vremena na vreme TELFOR u paraleli sa prijateljskim i partnerskim konferencijama se zajedno održava. Ove godine imamo čast da zajednički održavamo konferenciju sa konferencijom našom prijateljskom RSNOG, koja se bavi istom oblašću, pa smo ove godine odlučili da probamo da u istom periodu napravimo zajednički skup i na taj način napravimo praktično jedan praznik telekomunikacije. U ime RSNOG konferencije ja bih zamolio gospodina Slobodana Markovića da nam kaže par reči. Izvolite.
Dobar dan svima. Čast mi je da vam se obratim na konferenciji koja je danas 30. rođendan. Mi smo dosta mlađa zajednica. RSNOG, to jest grupa mrežnih operatora Srbije, okuplja mrežne operatore, preciznije one koji upravljaju internet mrežama u Srbiji i kroz razmenu informacija, saradnju, nastoje da internet ostane otvoren i slobodan i da radi pouzdano i bezbedno. U tom smislu naša organizacija je slična kao mnogo veći i poznatije organizacije kao što je recimo NANOG, to je North American Network Operators Group. Od osnivanja zajednice, proteklih recimo 7-8 godina, imamo podršku institucionalnu registra nacionalnog internet domena u Srbiji i tačke razmena internet saobraćaja SOX, kao i međunarodnih organizacija kao što su RIPE ili Internet Society. Osim što okupljamo zajednicu, organizujemo, to jest zastupamo ideju da se u Srbiji organizuju veliki internet događaji, sastanci velikih internet organizacija. To naše lobiranje ove godine urodilo plodom. Krajem oktobra imali smo u Beogradu sastanak organizacije RIPE 85, na kojem je prisustvovalo nekih preko 500 internet stručnjaka iz cele Evrope, regiona Bliskog istoka i centralne Azije, iz preko 70 zemalja. A nastavit ćemo u saradnji sa našim partnerima iz registra internet domena i uopšte RSNOG zajednice da dovodimo skupove. Planiramo da probamo da dovedemo skup internet korporacije za dodeljene nazive i brojeva ICANN ili recimo Forum Ujedinjenih nacija u upravljanju internetu IGF. U međuvremenu organizujemo RSNOG konferenciju. Ove godine biće održana tu u sali pored. RSNOG konferenciju ove godine će recimo imati za temu FinOps, bavit ćemo se softverski definisanim Wide Area Networks, pitanjima internet bezbednosti u Srbiji, stanju internet bezbednosti u Srbiji. Imaćemo jednu diskusiju o dizajnu, to jest sklapanju portfolija digitalnih usluga domaćih telekomunikacionih operatora. I još jednom uz zahvalnost TELFOR-u na ovoj prilici da vam se obratim, pozivam vas da odete na rsnog.rs, da se prijavite na RSNOG mailing listu ako ste zainteresovani da sa nama učestvujete u dovođenju velikih skupova interneta u Srbiju, da podržite organizaciju RSNOG konferencije, da možda pričate nešto na RSNOG konferenciji, pošaljite neku poruku i hvala vam puno.
Hvala. Pa izvolite, uzmite učešće i u okviru ove konferencije. Sad je vreme za nagrade. Prva nagrada je nagrada Đorđe Paunović. O profesoru Paunoviću ne treba ni pričati, pretpostavljam da svi znate za njega. On je godinama bio predsjednik upravnog odbora od samog početka, motorna snaga ove konferencije. Nažalost, napustio nas je pre 1.5 godina i njemu u čast programski i organizacioni odbor je doneo odluku da ustanovimo nagradu za najbolji naučni rad. Na ovogodišnjem TELFOR-u se dodeljuje nagrada za najbolji rad koji je u naučnom delu konferencije bio na prošlogodišnjem TELFOR-u i za 2021. godinu to prestižno priznanje je pripalo autorima Željku Despotoviću i Marku Tajdiću za njihov rad Design and Implementation of a Hybrid Power for Telecommunication and Measuring Remote Stations of the Surveillance, Alert and Warning System. Ja pozivam autore da dođu ovde na binu, da im uručimo nagradu i da im odamo priznanje jer su svojim radom zaista zaslužili tu vrednu nagradu. Pored plakete, čisto da naglasimo, autorima pripada i vrlo vredna novčana nagrada koja će im biti uručena nakon ovogodišnjeg TELFOR-a. Hvala vam. Hvala vam puno i želimo vam i dalji uspešan rad. Samo nastavite tako. Imamo još jednu nagradu. To je nagrada Blažo Mirčevski za najbolji rad mladog autora. Ova nagrada je ustanovljena u čast stručnog i
Blažo Mirčevski Award for the best paper of a young author at the TELFOR Conference 2021 in Belgrade. I assure you that you are in good company. All award winners are extremely capable young professionals in the field of modern technologies. Continue to achieve success in your professional and personal life. Be healthy and cheerful. Best regards.
On behalf of jury of Blažo Mirčevski Award, it is my pleasure to congratulate you. Your excellent work about terahertz transceivers has been awarded as the best paper written by a young author in TELFOR 2021. All the best in your future work and keep up the success. We're looking forward to seeing you at the TELFOR again.
Afternoon and greetings. To the esteemed TELFOR organizers, sponsors, and chairs, and in particular, the Blažo Mirčevski jury, family, and award giver, I'd like to take this opportunity to express my deepest gratitude and appreciation for this award.
Ja se izvinjam, malko ranije je pušten video, pa nisam izgovorio ko je dobio nagradu. Radi se o mladom čoveku, Surafet Behrain Albegaz. On je iz Etiopije i on je sa grupom autora zaslužio to vredno priznanje. On, nažalost, nije mogao da dođe ove godine na TELFOR, ali mu je nagrada uručena u Etiopiji i ja se nadam da će dugo pamtiti TELFOR i da će nam se vratiti kao jedan mlad, perspektivan stručnjak. Aplauz za ovog mladog autora. I konačno, this year we are extremely honored and pleased to have one of the most brilliant minds of today with us. A man who pushed human boundaries of understanding, of success of secrets of nature and the world we live in. A man who dedicated his life to the welfare of humanity. Mr. and Professor Dan Shechtman. Please, applause. For his work, Professor Shechtman won the Nobel Prize in 2011. I would especially like to thank you, Professor Shechtman, for accepting our invitation and our request to come here. He accepted that without any hesitation and passed a long way from Israel to be here with us today. Now, Professor Shechtman will give us a I'm very sure, excellent presentation. Please, Professor Shechtman.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here, to see all this significant crowd of important people who come to listen. I'm from Israel. My university is called Technion. It's a university that was established 98 years ago. In 2 years, it will be 100 years old. It is the first university in Israel, and it is dedicated to teaching science and engineering. The subject of my talk is demographics, technological entrepreneurship, and the future of Serbia. So let us start. Let's say a few words about demographics. And this is demographics of Israel 2014. What you see here is called demographic pyramid. It's called pyramid because it looks like a pyramid. On the X line, you see a number of girls, a number of boys, men and women. The red are women. And you see that in Israel we have many young children. As you go up the age, the number is less and less, and when you reach 100, only a few women are left there. So in Israel, we have many, many young children. I'll explain why. And the number of working people in the age group of 15 to 65, which is the international norm age group of working people, is relatively small. So the dependency ratio is quite high in Israel. That means that less people work to provide for many people. And the number of children per woman in Israel on the average is 3.1. My wife and I have 4 children and 12 grandchildren. This is Serbia. Same year, and the number of children per woman is 1.5. It doesn't look like a pyramid. It looks more like a mushroom. And you see that in the age group of working people, you have many people who support very few or a small number of children. But the future is down there at the age group of young children who will become the future generation of working people. So it is different, and this is a problem. It is not a problem now, but it's a problem for the future. So let us compare. You see the two demographic pyramids. They look completely different. Let's go on. When you have 1 child per woman, this is a family of 1 child per woman, 3 generations, then the little boy will have to provide much more GDP per capita to support the aging generation. And it's a single boy. Of course, here it's 1.5, but I could not find a picture with 1.5 children. When you have 3.5 children, it looks like this. This is 3.1 children per woman, and this is my family. 3.2 children per woman in my family. I will tell my family that everybody was happy to see them. Now, if a family has only 1 child per woman, that child will have to produce more GDP per capita to support the aging generation. And this is the situation more or less in Serbia. Is it a lost case? No. We can correct it, and we can correct it 2 ways. Way number 1 is encourage larger families. And the government can do a lot about it, encourage larger families. And governments around the world do a lot to encourage it. Russia is one example of successful attempt, not very successful, to support larger families, partially successful. So more children per woman. And the other thing is encourage technological entrepreneurship, and this is the subject of my talk today. So let's have a quick look at the world today. Struggling economies. The near future doesn't look very good for the economy of the world. And local, tribal, and international wars. I added international only lately. Before it was only tribal wars. Now international wars. What is the result? Waves of refugees. People that either are refugees in their own country or are refugees in other countries. They run away from the wars. Let's go back to technological entrepreneurship. So what is technological entrepreneurship? Very simple. It's an establishment of a new technology venture. So why is technological entrepreneurship important for the well-being of societies, countries, and the world? This is because it is the best way to produce high-income, thriving economy and many new good jobs for the educated. In this brave new world, the educated will have fantastic life. The uneducated will have problems. So I say it once, I'll say it again. Education is therefore job 1 of every country. I don't know about Serbia, but in my country, the budget of the Department of Education in the government is the highest budget, much more than the military budget. Building sustainable economy requires development of human ingenuity. How can we do that? But let's say a few words about human ingenuity before. The richness of a country does not depend on the natural resources. It is not oil, it is not coal, it is not metals. No. The most important natural resource of every country is human ingenuity. We have to develop it, we have to invest in it, we have to teach it. Human ingenuity is what makes countries well-to-do, and not anything else. Look at the countries around you. There are countries that are very rich in minerals and oils and gas and whatever. GDP per capita, very poor. So what does it take? What does it take to do that? How can we do that? Well, number one, good basic education to all. It has to be good. It has to be basic education to all. Not only the people in Beograd, but also the people in the villages, in the far remote places. Those people have more children per woman than in the city. They are the future of Serbia. They have to be well educated. So support, thank you, Veiko. Support education for all, good education for all. Good engineering and science education. Engineering and science, you people, is the source, is the foundation for a thriving economy. Good teaching and science education, it's a must. Government policy and support. Governments can do a lot to support entrepreneurship. And in Israel, they do a fantastic job. We don't have good government, I never said that. But in this, they do a very good job. Government after government, regardless of who is in control, I'll tell you a little bit about it. Good government policy and support. Free market economy. Of course. You buy, you sell, you develop. Free market economy. For you, it sounds normal. Of course, free market economy. But I once gave a talk in one South American country on the verge of communism, and I gave a talk in the parliament. And everybody was very happy until I said, free market economy. He said, no, all of them. No, no free market economy. Free market economy means that the United States will come and take everything. And I said to them, if you support your products by taxes, by import tax, by all kinds of means, you will destroy your economy. You cannot do that. Open your markets. I said it in the parliament. They didn't like that. All right, not everybody likes me. And no corruption. Ladies and gentlemen, corruption kills everything, including entrepreneurship. So you have, like everybody else, to control the corruption in every country and also in Serbia. But let's say that there are countries that have all this. Good basic education to all, good engineering and science, government policy and support, free market economy, no corruption. There are countries like this. Is that all that's needed? No. Also needed is development of entrepreneurial spirit and knowledge. You have to learn how to do that. Entrepreneurship is a worthy subject to teach. It doesn't come natural to people to open new startup. It's not part of our education. So we can teach that like any other subject. Born to be a technological entrepreneur, some people say, yeah, to become a successful entrepreneur, you have to be born with it. What does it mean? It means that if your father and mother had a business and every day during dinner you discuss money, you discuss sales, you discuss market survey, then you are born an entrepreneur. But our parents, most of our parents, were not like this. They don't have companies and we don't discuss business over dinner. So, you have to be born with it? Not at all. Can we teach technological entrepreneurship? Yes, we can and we should. And I can talk about it freely, although this is not my field, because I have done something about it in my country and it was very influential. So who teaches entrepreneurship today? If you go to the Ivy League universities in the United States, they teach entrepreneurship. How do they teach it? Well, they teach it. They teach startup management in MBA programs, Master of Business Administration programs. Problem is, MBA startup managers do not usually open new high-tech startups. They learn how to manage it, but they don't open the companies. They are managers. So, who opens startups? It is the engineers, biologists, medical doctors, scientists, computer experts. They start new high-tech companies. It is you, people. The people here. These are the people that start new startups. So whom and where should we teach how to open a startup? Youth in high schools. In Israel, there are programs to teach in high schools how to open startups. It's fun. And of course, in universities, the engineers, the scientists, the medical doctors, teach them how to open a startup. And don't forget the technicians in vocational school. These are the people that can push the buttons on the numerical control machines that make things. They can open startups. Teach them how to do that. It's not difficult. I would like to tell you something about technological entrepreneurship class at the Technion. And what year is this? Wrong. In the year 1997, forget the last digit. I started and conducted a technological entrepreneurship class at the Technion. What is the background? The background is this. By the way, I never thought about becoming a scientist. I always want to become an engineer, a mechanical engineer, because of a book by Jules Verne that I read when I was very young. And indeed, I studied mechanical engineering at the Technion. I am a certified mechanical engineer from the Technion. Problem was that in 1966, there was a big recession in Israel. And when I graduated, I could not find a job. So is it good or bad when you don't find a job? Well, depends what you do with it. So I said, by then I was married for 2 years. I had some financial responsibility. And I said, I will do my master's degree, get a salary as a TA, teaching assistant, and in 2 years I will find a job. And in 2 years I did find a job. But during these 2 years I fell in love with science and decided that I'm going to be a scientist and continue from my PhD. And that sealed my fate. This is why I'm here now. So I started an entrepreneurship class. Why 1987? Because in 1996, I became a full professor. And I said, now I can do whatever I want. And I started this class, not because I can teach it. Of course, I cannot teach technological entrepreneurship. But I want to be one of the students and invited speakers to teach technological entrepreneurship. And it went through the academic ladder, and they gave me approval to start this class. It was not easy. It was not easy because the Technion said, we don't teach how-to classes. We teach principles. And this is an how-to class. I said, okay, it is indeed how-to class, but it's important for the country, and I was influential enough to start it. And I ran it for 30 years, and the class I retired. The class continues now under the management of a colleague of mine, a good friend of mine. So before telling you how the class works, and I will tell you how it works because I want you to copy it, at least think about copying it, give you a good start. So, first of all, it is open to all Technion students. I opened it to everybody, but the largest hall of the Technion had 600 seats. So I could take only 600 students. But every week in my class, there were 600 students every week. It was the largest Technion class for many years. Very, very popular class. And not everybody could register to get a point, an academic point for the class. They came anyway. So although there were only 600 seats, more people came, and they were sitting behind and hanging from the windows. It was a smashing success. So later on, after like 20 years, we had only 300 students, but it continues today on this level. All lectures are given by invited speakers. I cannot teach. I'm one of the students. So I invite speakers. And who are these speakers? 3 classes. Number 1, successful entrepreneurs. These are the forefathers, the people that created entrepreneurship in the country. They started from zero. I know all of them personally. They were hungry, literally, when they started. And now they're all billionaires, with a B, like bitcoins, billionaires. So they were the first people to come. And they told the students how they started, how difficult it was, how did they find partners, how did they find the first money to invest, how did they find the first market, and so on and so forth. And the students learned from their experience. So, oops, wrong direction. And then the second group, new startup entrepreneurs. These are people that started a company 2 years ago, 5 years ago, and they are now struggling to make their company a success. And they tell the students what are the problems now, not 20 years ago, now. What are the issues? Some of them cannot get enough money. Some of them cannot get enough good people to join the company. Other ones have a product and they have difficulties in selling it. They tell actual problems and how they solve them. And the last group are the professionals. So who are the professionals? I bring a lawyer to tell the students what is a limited company and why you should register a limited company and not take the financial burden on your narrow shoulders. I bring the patent officer of the country to talk about IP, intellectual properties. How can you protect your product? Can you protect it? And so on and so forth. I bring somebody who talks about market survey. How important it is before you start to learn everything you can about your market. What is the competition? What is the price range? What are the directions of development? Which way do we go in this field? You enter a field which is not empty. You did not create it. There is a lot of competition in the world. Learn a lot about them before you even start. This is a market survey. And last one, I bring somebody who talks about marketing. So now you have a product. Congratulations, wonderful. Now you want to sell it. When do you start selling? When the product is perfect? Well, yes, if you're Mercedes-Benz or Microsoft, then you wait until your product is perfect, and then you start selling, but you are not one of them. You need cash flow. So you sell as soon as you can and fix later. Okay? You're not perfect. Sell, fix later. These are very practical advices to young people, and these are the professionals. During the lecture, each student summarizes the lecture on a form. It's on a form. Nowadays, it's done on the computer. And it summarizes it, and the reports are collected at the end of the lecture. Attendance mandatory. They have to be there in the class. Why am I mentioning it? Because at the Technion, you don't have to come to lectures. You have to come to exercises, and you have to come to exams. But you don't have to come to lectures. But in my class, it's mandatory. Why is it mandatory? Because there is no final exam. All I want is exposure. I want my students to be exposed to the entrepreneurs. That's all I want. How do I know they were there? Because they write the report and give me a report. So I have an assistant, Marks V, if they were. And since there are, every semester we have 14 lectures, 14 weeks of lectures every semester. If they attended 10 lectures of the 14, it's pass. Below, it's failed. That's it, very simple. So what can an experienced invited entrepreneur talk about? They can talk about how they started, difficulties they faced, and ways they overcame the difficulties. And you hear fantastic stories, fantastic stories. I wish I had more time. I will tell you stories that are amazing, how people got their first money. And the first money they got, after so many years, the few $1,000s become a few $1 billion, and now it's big money, and now the question is who is the boss, and so on and so forth. What were the financial resources? How did they find proper partners? Very important to find proper partners, like marriage, also important. How did they find customers? How did they find the first customers? Again, fantastic stories. Serendipity, by chance, some of them. And what is a company culture? Don't knock it. Company culture is very, very important. And I would like to dwell on it for 1 minute. I would like to tell you a story, how important company culture is. There's a company in Israel, I know it very well, I know the founder, who produced electronics, chips, for the people that make printing machine. The printing machine that you have at home by your computer, the printers. They make the chips for the printers. And one day, the company discovered that there's a bug. There's a bug in the chip. Nobody complained because the bug will cause a very rare problem if you do so many actions that usually people don't do. So it's not an important bug, but it's a bug. And it didn't come from complaints. They discovered it. Now the question is the following. What do? Do you tell your customers, which are huge companies, that we are sorry, we have a bug, we have fixed the bug, but we'd like you to know that we sold you chips with bugs? Or you just forget it. And in a few years, all these printers will go away anyway into the garbage and nobody will know. And now it's a crucial question. If you tell these companies that you sold them chips with a bug, some of them may say, well, if we cannot trust you, we will buy from somebody else. This is one option. Another option is, well, we know how difficult it was for you to tell us. We appreciate it. Thank you for fixing it. Make sure it doesn't happen again. Big debate. Company culture. They decided they are going to tell the customers. And the reaction was amazingly positive. Customers, all of them, said, we appreciate you told us. We understand that it's a minor issue. Make sure it doesn't happen again. We understand how difficult it was for you to tell us. This is company culture. Okay. Principles. Motivation. The motivation for a startup should be the startup itself, not money. Money is a byproduct of a successful company. Work on the company. Money is a byproduct of a successful business. Now let's talk about a few mistakes that lead to failure in startups. And these are from the lectures of the experts that came to my class. Non-professional management by the technological entrepreneur. This is very typical, especially in my country, that everybody thinks that he knows everything better than everybody else. So the man or the woman that invented the process or the product that started a company say, I'm the owner, I'm the inventor, I will run the company, I know best. Recommendation is, yes, when the company is very small, you do that. But when the company grows, in most cases, you do not fit to run a large company. Hire a professional expert who knows how to run such a company. For instance, one of those people from the ABA programs of the Ivy League universities. Hire one of them. They learn how to do it, and they spend years learning it. So this is number one. Insufficient market surveys and lack of market. You don't know the market, you fail. You must know the market. Follow the market before you start. Follow the market when you start. Follow the market every day of the life of the company. You have to be in the market. Wrong money source. Wrong money source? Money can be wrong? Oh, yes. Oh, yes. We'll talk about it a little bit soon. Partnering with friends rather than professionals. This is very typical. Young people in Israel just out of the military, they served in a high-tech company in the military, cyber defense, cyber war. They have good ideas. They go to the beach, look at the girls, and 5 of them said, hey, let's open a company. And everybody said, well, this is fantastic, and they open a company. They may be very good friends, but is it a good combination to open a company? All of them know one thing, the same thing. But anybody knows how to manage, anybody knows about money, anybody has marketing capabilities. So building the team is an important issue. Friends are not always good partners. Ego-driven entrepreneurship. I know best. I'm the manager, I know best, don't tell me. No. You decide, but listen. Listen well to advisors that come from all parts of your company and from the outside. Bad contract demand founders. Our recommendation is when you open a company, go to the best lawyer in town and write down a wonderful, detailed contract that will explain exactly what happens if you decide to break out, if one of you decides to go out of the company, if all of you decide to disintegrate the company, exactly what happens so that there will be no question asked later on. And then there are cultural considerations. In many countries, I don't know about Serbia, but I do know about the Far East. In the Far East, failure is a shame. People are afraid to fail because it's a shame on you, it's a shame on your family, it's a shame on your city, God forbid, it's a shame on the government. So people will not take the risk because there is a good chance you'll fail. So fear of failure is a major obstacle. And my message is, failure okay, start again. It is not a shame to fail, many fail. If you start again, you have a much better chance to succeed in your second attempt because now you are an experienced entrepreneur. So you have a much better chance to succeed. More than that, in my class I said, don't learn from your own experience. Learn from other people's experience, and then you have a chance to succeed even in the first time you open a startup because you are now an experienced entrepreneur learning by the experience of other people. Government role. Government can open incubators. I don't know if you open it here. I assume you do. In Israel, government opened many, many incubators, especially it started when there was a big wave of immigration from Russia to Israel. About 1 million Russian Jews came to the country, and many of them had good ideas and good skills and couldn't find a job, so the government opened incubators to help them create startups. The government can do that. Partnership with VC funds, I'll explain. On the government level, in my country, the government declared in the world, hey guys, if you invest in Israel, venture capital fund, we are 40% partners. You invest $60 million, we invest $40 million in a fund to support startups in Israel. So this was a great incentive for companies to, hey, if the government takes 40% of the risk and the government supports it, sounds like a good deal. And it was very successful for everybody, for the investors of all parts. And Israel got back a lot of money from this initiative. They gained tremendous money from this initiative. Form a chief scientist's office in every ministry. Do you have chief scientist's office in every ministry? You do. Good. In Israel, we have chief scientists in every ministry, but we also have the chief scientist. The chief scientist is the one person who had a lot of money to invest in startups and in good ideas in existing companies, not only in startups. I know him very well. He did his master's degree with me. He's a wonderful person. And he distributes every year $500 million to startups and to good ideas in larger companies. $500 million he gives away. And he tells me the government said, the companies have to pay it back if they are successful. If they are not, it was a gift. Okay, there's no obligation to return it. But if you're successful, then you pay back over time in a period of several years. He tells me that for every dollar that he invested, the government got back $5. None of you can do that. Of course, I cannot do that. Right? $5 for every dollar the government gets back from this initiative alone. Government can support industrial, innovative R&D in startups, and government can sign bilateral agreements and support bilateral funds. I'm sure Serbia have such agreements that support bilateral funds. And form and support instruction and advice centers for emerging startups. So the government can do a lot to support. And in my country, they really do the best on this. I want to say a word about venture capital funds. I'm against venture capital funds, and I'll explain you why. Of course, it's a good source of money, but is it good indeed? So how does the venture capital fund work? Well, there is one person. Let's say I'm the initiator. I go to 3 or 4 of my rich friends, and I say, okay, I would like each and every one of you to invest $10 million in a venture capital fund, so that we'll have $50 million from 5 of you. I will run it. I will invest in new companies or existing companies that I think are very potentially successful. And after 5 or 7 years, you'll get your money back with all the revenues. What's the problem? That after 5 or 7 years, I have to get the money back from the company I invested. And sometimes they cannot afford it. So I have to sell the company, okay, to get the money. And that is a problem, because being successful in 5 years is not always possible. And so companies disappear, and that's not very good. So this is the problem with venture capital. So where should we go to seek funding for a startup? This is our advice for the students. Number 1, angels. Angels are people in your field, in this case, let's say microelectronics or software, who usually had an exit and now they sit down with several $100 million in their pocket, and they will gladly invest in you because they can appreciate what you do, they can judge it from a point of view of an experienced person, and they are good because they will work with you. They have the contacts in the world. They were successful. They will give you good advices. They are really interested in your success. So angels is one on my list. Strategic partners are partners that you get later when you have a product usually. So let's say that you have a product, an automatic machine to water golf courses. This is a true case, by the way. And they have the product, but they don't have the world market. So they joined a large company in the world who has the world market. And the company says, fine, your product is good, we will go together with you. Just one little change. You paint your machines red. In a golf course, we don't like red, we want green, like everything else. It is hidden behind the bushes, must be green. Okay, they make the change. And then they form a partnership. The company makes, and one company sells, and everybody is happy. Bootstrapping. Bootstrapping is creating a company with no money from the outside. How can you do that? Well, if you don't have money. You need a computer. You need a software engineer to help you write the software for your product. Give that engineer something of value. No money, but part of your company. Give him or her a part of your company. And remember, right now, the value of the company is 0. So with this person, the value will grow. So give this person something of value, a nice part of your company, don't worry about it. If the company is successful, there will be enough money for everybody else. This is bootstrapping. And last is VC funds on my list, and I explained why. What money should not be used? This is our advice to the students. If you don't have deep pockets, do not use your own money. Don't sell your car or your apartment for a fantastic idea, because the chances of failure are high, and you may lose your apartment and car and wife and children in the process. You don't want to do that. Use money of other people who can lose it without crying too much. And do not take money from relatives or friends. Yes, don't take money from Aunt Golda, who 2 weeks later will come to you and say, are we already making money? No, Auntie. It will take 5 years. 5 years? Yes, don't take money from Auntie Goldie. And now for the future. In order to create more and more entrepreneurs, more and more people will have to have good science and technology knowledge, engineering. So I thought that teaching science to young children is a good idea. Not only did I think about it, but I also spoke on the Israeli radio. The year was it was exactly 10 years ago, 2012. I spoke on the radio. For 5 minutes, they interviewed me outdoors somewhere. And I said, we should teach science to young children. The mayor of Haifa, my town, whom I know, is a friend, was in his car listening to the radio. And he hears me, and as soon as the program ended, he calls me from his car. Hey, Danny, did you say young children? I said, yep. I said, how young? I said, well, let's teach science in kindergartens. He said, will you do it in Haifa? I said, will you pay? He said, I will pay. And we started the program. The program was 60 kindergartens from all walks of life, different neighborhoods, quite balanced. And we started at 60 kindergartens. The program has medium success. It was not very successful because what we did was to teach the kindergarten teachers. We taught them science by a group of scientists from the Haifa Museum of Science. And they had to transfer it to the children. But the problem is that these ladies who may love children and they are wonderful, they're not scientists. And although you explain it to them, they sort of partly understand it. And when they have to transfer it to the children, somehow it's lost in translation. So it's not the best way to do things. But the best way is another development on this line. The Haifa has created a special science kindergarten. It's a wonderful institute, really wonderful, on a global scale. It's a very nice building, 90 children, 3 groups, 30, with 3 kindergarten teachers, and a laboratory. And I'll show you pictures. As you enter the laboratory, you think that you are in a university, very nice laboratory. But you look down and there are around 10 people, age 5 to 6, sitting around a round table, laboratory coats, and very seriously performing experiments. And the guide is a high school teacher of chemistry. She has masters in chemistry. She can teach high school, but she teaches kindergarten, and that works very well. And the other thing is, I'll show you soon a picture of the kindergarten. The other thing is an educational program that I created on television. It is called, but it's in Hebrew, so you can find it on the internet, but it's in Hebrew. It's called To Be a Scientist with Professor Dan, television channel, the educational television channel of the country, created on the stage a laboratory for me, and they invited 3 young children, not kindergarten, this is grade A and B sometimes, so they are between 6 and 7.5 years old. And we spoke science, real science, fantastic science. And this was very, very popular program on television. And this is the kindergarten. This is a special kindergarten. This is the teacher and myself. And these are the children sitting with laboratory coats, round table. And they discuss something very seriously, and they perform experiments that the teacher have prepared for them. After that, they take off the laboratory coats, and they sit on the side, and the teacher makes sure that they understood everything. So she repeats the whole procedure, and she asks every child one question, to see that they really understood everything. This works very well. There are many delegations from the world who came to see it, and one delegation from Lithuania, of 3 professors, by the way, came to look at it, and later on they wrote me an email that they opened 16 such kindergartens there. Okay, this is the end of my talk. Some of you may know this book, Startup Nation. It tells the story of how Israel became a startup nation with so many startups. By the way, some of these startups are very successful. You know what unicorn is? Some of you know? Raise your hand. Unicorn? No? Some of you do. Unicorn is a private company that's worth more than $1 billion. This is a unicorn. And this is before going public. It is owned by one or several people, privately owned. And I don't know how many there are in Israel, but at one time when I looked at the number, we had 100 such companies. More unicorns in Israel than in all Europe. Okay? And this is human ingenuity. It's not natural resources, it's a natural resource which is the human ingenuity. Thank you very much. I feel like in the Doma, when they never stop. If you have questions, and if we have time, I will try to answer. So, do you have microphones here? If not, please come to me to ask the question.
Questions, please?
Anybody?
I suppose they are afraid.
You don't have to. Here's one. Please come to me.
I want to ask, and please forgive my chutzpah for asking the question. I think your statistics is including the population impact of the Haredim population. If we are taking into account only Smolanim, Hilonim, and the others, I think it will be corresponding very closely to what we can observe in Serbia.
Okay.
What impact does it have?
Okay.
And how can we achieve the same effect here? Because I don't see the way. Okay. Thank you.
So the question is very important for Israel. He knows Israel. He says, well, Israel is divided into several groups, and some of them are the people that you're talking about. Other people do not belong to this world of entrepreneurship or industry or innovation. They deal with other things, either because of lack of education or because of religious education. It's an issue, of course. Israel is an inhomogenic society. We are divided into 4 groups of people, of which one group is highly educated. These are the people that we were discussing. And this group is not the majority in the country, but they carry the economy of the country to where it is now. The GDP per capita of Israel, I will answer your question. The GDP per capita of Israel, depends on how you look at it, is between $40,000 to $50,000. And you know the GDP per capita of Serbia, which is more than Japan, for instance. Everybody in Israel produces, on the average, per capita, more than Japan. Can you believe that? It's a fact. Okay. And in between France, England, a little bit lower than Germany. And it's all human ingenuity. And it's all one part of the country, you're right. Other parts do not contribute to the economy. They are a burden on the economy, and their numbers are growing much faster than the number of the people who are contributing. However, there is a leak in the direction of education, towards leaving the parts that do not contribute. And there is an improvement. The line, you see an improvement there. It's a slow process and it will take time. Right now, the small proportion of the country who do contribute so well is in a minority. Minority both economically, but they contribute most of the economy, and politically, which is an issue nowadays. So it's a problem in Israel. Other questions? Anybody wants, please come here. No, I want him here. I want the people here because I don't hear very well. That's my problem.
Yes, thank you very much. It was impressive for me.
The question is, what is the main motivation? Can you summarize? What is the main motivation, main goal of the most successful students you teach, except money? What is the most important you found?
Okay, now say it again.
Yes, what is the most important you found in people who does the most successful things?
What is the character? What is
maybe,
common?
Maybe the main goal.
The main goal.
Something common in all of them that makes successful and except money. What is the main?
Okay, that's a very good question.
Thank you.
I said before that money should not, and it really is not the main issue when you open a startup, practically speaking. I know a few startups in Israel who are very innovative. There is an atmosphere in the country. It's part of the country culture. Young people talk a lot about entrepreneurship. They talk a lot about girls and boys also. Girls talk about boys and vice versa, and sometimes the other way. But it's an issue. They do talk about it. It's in the air. But more important than this, there is, and besides the support of the government, there is another support, which is even more important. And that is based on the fact that today there is a lot of high-tech ideas in Israel. Let me give an example. Any large company in the world that you can mention has an R&D center in Israel. There are about 400 R&D centers in Israel, 400. Some of them, like Intel, employs 10,000 people. Some of them employ smaller numbers. And these people saved Intel from failure with their innovative ideas. And they are in Haifa, and they are technical graduates. And my son's wife works for Intel, and now for a company called Mobileye, who the automatic cars. So there's a lot of knowledge in what's going to happen in 5 years from now. Not what's happening now. These are the people that design the future, and they know what's happening 5 years from now. So this is one thing. So besides the fact that it is an issue that people discuss, young people discuss, there is a lot of knowledge. This is number one. Number two. Number three, we have good engineering and science education in universities in Israel. The universities in Israel are very good. Education below that is not very good. But universities are very good. While the Technion was the only university in the beginning that taught science, now practically, except for Haifa University, they don't teach engineering, but all other universities teach engineering and science. And in Haifa University, they also have some science. So this produces good people. Number three, or number four, you will be surprised, it's the military service. In Israel, military service is mandatory. For boys, it is 3 years. For girls, I think 2 or 2.5 years. In my time, when I was in the military, and all my children, and I met my wife in the military. Today, military is high-tech. Not the way they fight between Russia and Ukraine. They fight the same way they fought the Second World War, tanks and cannons. They don't know about modern war. Modern war is not like this. Modern war is cyber war, defense and offense. Modern war are missiles that are sent from drones and can enter the left side of the window on the 17th floor of a high-rise of 30 floors. There. This is modern war. And it's all software and hardware. And very many people, young people who serve in the military, are not fighting soldiers. Most of them are not fighting soldiers. They are high-tech people. I have one granddaughter who is now, one of the 12 I have is now one in the military service, and she's in cyberspace. She's in cyber. She's a genius in cyber. When I have a problem with my cell phone, first I call the husband of one of my daughters. If he cannot do it, I call the husband of my second daughter. He cannot. If they cannot do it, I call her. She comes, tuk, 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 thank you very much, goodbye. So these are the people. And as they go out from the military, they are very experienced people in modern technology. Before starting university even. When they go to university, they can teach a word or two to the teachers because they know what's happening now. Not from the books, from their experience. This is another factor. So all these factors together add to the atmosphere in which the spirit and the knowledge of high technology is in the air all the time. It's buzzing in the air all the time. Other questions? Please come to me.
So you mentioned all the ways that government and your class made the subject of technological entrepreneurship closer to the students. But in Serbia, we don't have terms to provide us with that. So do we turn to the internet?
Experts to talk about it.
Sorry?
Talk to me. Talk to me. I will repeat the answer.
So you mentioned all the ways. You mentioned all the ways how government in your class made the subject of technological entrepreneurship closer to students. In Serbia, we don't have those terms. It's not provided for us. The basics. Yeah. Where do we get them? Do we turn to the internet, or we buy the book you mentioned?
Where do you get the talks?
Where do we get the basics to start? Technological entrepreneurship. Yeah.
Without studying. Yeah. Okay, so the question is, not everybody is exposed to my class, so how can this young gentleman with the jeans can find information on how to open a startup? And the answer is, I don't know. I really don't know. Sorry, I would have liked to give you a good advice, but I just don't have it. Other questions? I have the mic.
Can I add one anecdote in that way? More than 25 years ago, when the first mobile operator... Okay. When the first mobile operator started in Serbia, my mentor and professor, George Paunovic, he was the chief of the department here at our school. And he were working very closely with the owners of the first mobile operator here in Serbia, Braća Karić. I'm very sure that you are very well known about it. And after half a year, when the company started, it was startup at that time, you know. The owner of the company, Bogoljub Karić, on one occasion asked my professor, okay, oh, professor, what do you think about this company? Is it doing well? And professor, he was a gentleman, very clever one. He said, it's going well, but I think that the company is a little bit confused, you know. Not very well organized, very well structured. He obtained immediately an answer. Oh, my professor, if I'm listening to you, I will never earn the money. You know? And you're completely right. It's not an easy to find a way how to make successful startup. It's not maybe hard to make startup, but you have to make successful. Yes.
Okay, what you just said is one of the things that I mentioned before. I'd like to mention it again. If you find a way to, you're a university. you can start this class. And if you want more details, I will give them to you. Exactly how I did it, and you can do better than me. I did it 35 years ago or whatever. Nowadays you can do it much better than I did. But yes, this class enables better luck in the first trial. It's like you have failed in one and now you have experience to start another one with success. Startups fail. Many do. But failure, okay, start again. And this sentence, failure, okay, start again, when I give talks in the Far East, China, Taiwan, Singapore, Japan, and other countries, South Korea, they say, oh, remember that sentence? We want that to be the title of your talk, because this is our problem. Failure. Fear of failure is a problem in the Far East. Not only that, I don't know how many of you know the Far East, but they are different people and they have different manners. And let me give you one example to illustrate it to you, because you will find yourself doing things with countries like China, Japan, South Korea, and other countries in the region, Singapore. I was a professor in a university in South Korea, in the city of Seoul National University, SNU. And I taught a class of transmission electron microscopy to PhD students. And I had maybe 17 students in my class, something like this. And I gave a talk, and then I gave them an exercise to do at home. And the next week, we meet again, and I said, who did the exercise? Silence. I said, nobody did the exercise? Did you do it? Yes. You? Yes. You? Yes. You? Yes. Everybody did it. Why don't you raise your hand? Let me explain you something. In some countries, the spirit is against entrepreneurship, because entrepreneurship means jumping ahead of everybody. There, jumping ahead is no-no. If I ask who did the homework and you raise your hand, everybody will look at you and say, why are you jumping? Don't you know everybody did it? Why do you jump ahead? Who are you? Are you special? Come back. Come back to the line. Come back. Everybody is on the same line. This is against entrepreneurship. This spirit of everybody nobody should jump ahead is against entrepreneurship. And indeed, in those countries, South Korea has about 10 fantastic, huge companies. The spirit in South Korea is that the company can make everything, unlike in the West, A company like Samsung, I'm sure some of you have cell phone of Samsung, they will do any business that brings money. If it is an insurance company, they will buy the insurance company because it makes money. If it is making ships, they will make ships. Everything. In the West, this is not the case. Okay, very focus. There, open. It's a different culture, but the culture is against entrepreneurship. And if there is a little entrepreneurship here and there, the big companies will buy them right away, either to destroy the project or to suck it into their companies. Almost no startups in these countries, and that has to do with the national character, national spirit. Ladies and gentlemen, I think I spoke enough, took enough of your time. Thank you very much.
And finally, we should play the video of Professor Shechtman.
Let me give you an answer for something you did not ask. Everything in your life occurs by chance. Statistics. Let's start asking you, asking all you people, what were your chances to be born? Think about the process. The answer is 0. There is nothing closer to 0 than the chance of somebody to be born. Another sperm is another person, not you. You would never know that you were not born. And your father also had to be born, and your mother had to be born. Go back down to the first amoeba in the swamp. So the chance to be born is 0. I don't know anything closer to 0 than the chance to be born. And yet we are all here. We are so lucky. There is no other gift so rare like life. Live wisely.
Dear Professor Shechtman, thank you again in the name of all of us. Ostalo mi je da vas pozovem sve da učestvujete u vrlo bogatom programu TELFOR-a. Ja mislim da ove godine imamo zaista sjajnu izložbu, sjajne prezentacije. Ispred hotela imate Huawei kamion, u foajeu imate izložbe kompanije Telekom Srbija A1. Jetel sutra od 12 ima isto jednu vrlo interesantnu prezentaciju novih dostignuća 5G tehnologije. Pored toga, ne mogu ni da stignem sve da nabrojim, tu su sa nama i Terry Engineering, i Amdocs, i Ratel, i Institut Vlatakom, Institut Mihajlo Pupin i tako dalje. Nemojte mi zameriti ako sam nekog propustio. Sve te prezentacije su ove godine zaista sa, ja čvrsto verujem, vrlo interesantnim temama i molim vas, nemojte se stideti, dođite, učestvujte, pitajte, diskutujte i ono što je najvažnije, ja mislim dobrobit TELFOR-a i ove konferencije je što možete da popijete kafu sa svojim kolegama koje ne viđate po godinu dana i da razmenite iskustva, da prodiskutujete nove teme. Uživajte. I na kraju, sad je vreme za koktel, čuveni TELFOR koktel, da se opustite i malo odmorite.